Howdy mates, how are we doing today? I just wanted you guys to take this in for a second before I explain. Alright, so I'm as giddy as a schoolboy right now, so just just bear with me, please. So, after nearly 7 years, this is the first time that I've been to the Atlantic coast of Florida. Almost 7 years. And the last time, it was over at Cocoa Beach. And I gotta say, I feel like there's a lot of nostalgia right now. Just because, you know, further up north, like in New Jersey especially, I remember we would always go to the Atlantic when I was little. So this is very heartwarming. So right now I'm over visiting the it's called the Blowing Rocks Preserve, based in Jupiter, Florida. And the Blowing Rocks Preserve is owned under a non-profit organization called the Nature Conservancy. And, you know, when you hear the Nature Conservancy, you know that it's a big deal. Because the Nature Conservancy is a national non-profit. And they have locations throughout the United States with which they have done, you know, the employees, volunteers, have done extensive work to help restore a unique habitat and to also keep it preserved for future generations. So, Blowing Rocks Preserve, as you can see, you're looking at what is known as the Anastasia Formation of limestone, specifically known as coquina, which refers to limestone mostly made out of a combination of shells and even oysters too. So you figure this limestone was created over 150 million years ago, because you have to figure pretty much all of Florida was once under the ocean. And you know, there was a point when sea level dropped and Florida became a bit more exposed. And that's why it's so flat the way it is. So, the Anastasia Limestone Formation ranges all the way as far north as St. Augustine, and then as far south as like closer to West Palm Beach, so like southern Palm County. So it's this particular formation where you get to see it the most. And just looking at this limestone is just a sheer demonstration of what water is capable. You know, in terms of how it shapes a landscape. Oh, that was a good one. Oh, wow. Oh, this is amazing. So, you figure, since the water is mostly composed of salt, you have to think, you know, that salt slowly but surely breaks down that rock, hence eroding it. And you have to figure a lot of this sand that we're seeing here most likely came from this very rock. But what's particularly fascinating about this you know, sea dune habitat is it's actually a very harsh area to live in, especially for our wildlife. That's just because of the varying power of the water. But then you also have frequent winds that typically come from the northwest. And then usually in the summer. But once it gets into the winter, the winds start to come a bit more from the southeast. So it's also wind, too, that is primarily responsible for the sand that's here. Because, you know, what's amazing is both water and air, even though they're different states of matter, they actually behave very similar. They both move in a fluid-like motion. So, basically what I'm trying to say is this landscape here is constantly changing. So like right here, we're seeing a bit of our dune, you know, where we have a chance to see some sea oats and plenty of sea grape. Well, having that barrier is absolutely crucial. And I say that because these are salt-tolerant plants. Because you have to figure, right by the ocean, winds travel through here quite frequently, so that creates something called salt spray. And any of the other vegetation that goes a bit further inland, they can't tolerate that. If they get too much exposure to salt spray, they'll wind up dying. So basically, we have our beach, we have our dune, makes its way into it's known as a dune strand, which is kind of like a transition between the dunes, the actual dunes themselves, and the tropical hammock. So then, once you pass your tropical hammock, you have your lagoon. So the most common lagoon here on this coast of Florida, on the East Coast, is the Indian River Lagoon. And then, you know, you have your river, and then of course you have the mainland. So it's like a, how do I want to say it? It's a very complex system of ecosystems that are going on in this particular setting right here. Quite of a contrast from, you know, say, Central Florida, which is where I had the drive-through this morning. But yeah, this is amazing. I know I keep saying that, but just the fact that I haven't seen the Atlantic Ocean in so long, it just feels good to be back. But yep, so you can see like all those curvatures in the rock. It's because of the water. It's not by man. You know, we didn't do this, but rather it was water. It's good to see you, Miss Atlantic. It's alright, you guys. I know this video is a little longer, so I'm just gonna wrap it up here. I might do another video or two at this particular preserve. They do have an educational center, and then they also have some short trails that, you know, bring you through the other types of ecosystems. So if you haven't been, I would highly recommend it. Alright, you guys. Take care. Peace out. See ya.